Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Strategic Business Planning. My name is John Coombs. I'll be your host, and today we have a special guest. His name is James Ambagis. James started his journey in entrepreneurship, believe it or not, back in the Army. He was an airborne combat engineer that became an entrepreneur and founded True Comfort Heating and Air in Maryville, Tennessee. Obviously, he's a veteran, but he's also family running his business, serving all of East Tennessee, and he started it at 22. He launched the company with a commitment to integrity and lasting value, where he puts a very large emphasis on his faith and his journey walking with God. In just 4 years, he grew it into a 7-figure business with 400 five-star Google reviews. Most people would rave about 40. He's got 400. Alongside his wife, Alyssa, which he's very passionate about, and you'll see that during the episode. She's helped lead operations, a true foundation for James. He's built his business on faith, like I said, honest service, and the belief that growth and ethical leadership go hand in hand. Today, he joins us to discuss entrepreneurship, leadership, his strong foundation in faith, and what it takes to build something meaningful from the ground up. At a very early age, success before he's even 30, James Ambagis is our guest today. Please join me in welcoming him to Strategic Business Planning. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Strategic Business Planning. Today, I've got James Ambagis with True Comfort Heating and Air. Today, we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of an HVAC business. James is relatively young, but he's been very successful. James, let's talk about a little bit of your history. Start back, way back when, and how it all turned up to where you're in HVAC today.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, do you mind if I say a quick prayer real quick?
Don't mind at all.
Okay.
Don't mind
Absolutely.
at all.
Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this day. I want to thank you for the opportunity to share my story and what you've done for me. I pray that anyone that listens to this takes positivity and encouragement, and most of all, that they know Jesus Christ loves them and wants a relationship with them. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, John.
Jesus' name. All right, so on the last episode last week, we had talked to Chuck, and Chuck talked about how his origin of website development started with his father. So
Yeah.
is it similar with you?
No, my dad did not do HVAC as I was growing up. I was not handy at all. I have several stories about that. My mom was a RN, or is an RN. She retired last year. And so I always thought that's the route I would go. You know, I did all right in school. So I figured I'd go be like a NP or PA. That's kind of what I thought I wanted to do, and like work in the ER or something. So yeah, no, I was not handy at all. How I got into it is Alyssa, my wife, we were high school sweethearts.
Oh,
Yeah. And
bless it.
Oh yeah. She dumped me a few times, but I won her back.
A few times.
Well, I was probably messing up, you know. But I won her back, and so there was a few times in high school when I wasn't in football or track or whatever I was doing, you know, that my father-in-law, you know, her dad at the time would just invite me to ride with them because her parents owned a couple HVAC companies. They had one out in Memphis that was more commercial, than they had one out here in Maryville that was residential.
Okay.
And so that's how I got introduced to it. Now, again, I tell you I was not handy, so I think he would invite me just, I don't really have a reason why he'd invite me.
Filling you out? Cause
just feeling me. Yeah,
I'm
I'm dating his daughter, you know, and then seeing like, oh my gosh, this guy can't handle impact, like I didn't know what that was.
Or having you around 220 volt just to see, kind of like cleaning a gun, just to see if you.
Man, I got a story about that too. I mean, yeah. So that's how I got into HVAC or got introduced to it. Is he would just invite me, and it happened only a handful of times, right? I'm not gonna say I was full-time employed for them or anything like that, but handful of times, and just kind of introduced me to it. Now, at the time. He's a very humble man. He's not someone that cares about money or anything like that. He's been very successful. He's one of my mentors. But at the time, when you're young and don't really have an idea for anything, he introduced me to, hey man, like this can make a lot of money. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to go be an MP, right? You can, we can change a contactor in 15 minutes and make $300. Most people can't make that ever an hour.
How old were you during that time?
16, 17.
Okay, so was it clicking? Because at 17, 18 years old, you're thinking college, and like was what he was saying, was that clicking?
I think when you're that young, money talks, right? Because you don't have your head on right. So it was clicking in that sense of being an entrepreneur, but not in the sense of, again, I was not handy, man. He will tell a story if he asked me to help make a bed frame for him, my father-in-law, and I could not use an impact to screw it in. I didn't know how. I mean, I can't imagine what was going through his head, right? Like, oh my gosh, this guy's...
What is my daughter getting into?
This guy. So, yeah. So, and again, my background, my parents weren't handy people either.
Sure.
My dad had car lots, and then my mom was a RN. So my mind, even though dad owned car lots, my mind was like, oh, go to school, get into medicine. That's what intelligent people do, blah, blah, blah. I was very wrong, There's plenty of intelligent people that don't do that too. But yeah, so that's kind of how I got introduced to it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So that was 18, 19, right?
Yeah.
So did you work with him, or what was the history like?
The true timeline?
Yeah.
So 16, 17, kind of 18, I would just be around it, right?
Okay.
They had an office in Alcoa. I'd be around it. My wife, this is the real asterisk to this story. She's the backbone. My wife would work for her parents in the office. So she's seeing how a 7-digit HVAC company's running on the inside, the important part of it, right?
Sure.
And me, I'm just right around her dad and saying, here's a Phillips screwdriver, and it was not a Phillips screwdriver, right?
Wow.
So yeah, that was me. And so I'm just being honest, And so that was kind of 16, 17. Then I joined the Army out of high school. I did not do HVAC in the Army. I just did one contract and I got out. And then, but my last few months in, I did a thing where you could internship under a company while on active duty. Well, I picked my father-in-law's company, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because
that's awesome.
I didn't know I had a good idea of what I was going to do after the Army, which HVAC, but like I didn't know HVAC yet, right?
So you were allowed to stay on active duty pay and work for the father-in-law.
Yes, that was a blessing.
Was it future father-in-law? Or were you?
No, we were married then.
You're married,
we were married
okay.
then. Yes, sir. Yeah. So he owns a trade school that his father-in-law started.
Okay.
It's in their blood to do HVAC.
Wow.
And so I went to school, got certified, and that's when I really thought I knew HVAC.
Okay.
Which again, it gets you. You're dangerous, right? You can get out, you can fix units, but I didn't know anything about building a business or anything like that. But that's where I actually got my knowledge. He taught me how to use an impact, taught me how to use a Phillips screwdriver, and then to use a multimeter and all that. And that's where I got the knowledge. Sure. And then got certified through him. And from there, I got, a little more obsessive about it, watching YouTube videos, like being like, okay, this is my craft. I'm about to hone it. And
well, how long was the school again?
His school it's in a really accelerated course. It's only like 2.5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And then, my internship was like 3 months. So I did get to ride with him and spend every single day with him.
So a couple weeks, you're learning. You just dive in, drink from a fire hose. Right?
Yes, really.
And then you ride with him for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened?
After that, I got out of the Army and I did pick up on it pretty fast. I did pick up on it fast as far as in my mind, I knew what was happening. I just wasn't handy. There's two different things. I knew what was happening. I just didn't, I'm not good like with sheet metal at the time or you trying to put a screw in something. I just didn't do that stuff yet. My fine motor skills weren't good.
What'd you do in the military?
I was a combat engineer at Fort Bragg in the 82nd. Yeah.
So the background of that, do you think that implemented any type of mentality to click more?
I think the Army, I don't want to use the word regrets, but I wish I was more mature and took it more serious.
Sure.
And tried to utilize the Army better and what all the programs they have. And you know, it's not a touchy subject for me. And again, I don't want to use the word regret, but I do wish I tried to do more. But you don't, it's like everything else. You just don't realize it,
You
right?
don't see it till you're done.
Until you're
look
done.
back,
I'm
yeah.
like, man, I was capable of so much more. But that wasn't God's path for me, you know? And so I had to go through that to gain the mindset of, hey, right. And I can relate this back to the business of, hey, I never want to be in a position again where I look back and wish like, oh man, I wish I would have, what guys want to go to Ranger school or whatever they want to do. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I would have done X, Y, and Z.
Sure.
So I did take that away from it. Away from it.
I would like to stop just for a brief second and say, I really appreciate the prayer.
Oh yeah, man.
In the beginning,
No problem.
this is going to be the 6th episode, and I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ, and it's been like it's saturated my spirit. So, thank you.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Right. So tell me about where you were in your life. Tell me your mindset, your maybe your financial situation when you started your business. Where were you in life at that point? Well, this was a few years later, right? Like this was
timeline's gonna move pretty quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of the timeline. So I was in from 18 to 21. It was just a 3-year active duty contract, and then you have IRR, right? So that was it. And then when I was out, I went and worked for 2 different HVAC companies. One was residential, out in Seymour, Sevierville area. And then the other one was more of a commercial company, very large company off Alcoa Highway. So, so I did that for about a year, and I did gain a lot more experience, especially at the commercial place. One of my good buddies, Justin, he worked there with me, and we had no one above us that had any HVAC knowledge. And I won't name that company because I never want to speak ill of a different company. But
so you had managers that were just managers, not HVAC people that
John,
managed.
I can't make it up. If he was here right now, he'd tell you the same story. It was just trial by fire for us. They hired him and I to be the lead HVAC guys, I guess, and we're 2 guys with combined 2 years experience. That's crazy, you know? But luckily I had a very good mentor, my first mentor, my father-in-law, on speed dial, and that man probably, you know, back in the day, I guess you paid for minutes or something. So if that was today, oh my gosh, his bill would have been, it'd have been absorbent. You know, I mean, I killed him on the phone calls, but he, trial by fire, I'd be up there on a rooftop, me and Justin, and we'd call Kevin, is my father-in-law, and he would walk us through it. And through that, you know, we picked it up pretty fast and accelerated. And then at night, Justin and I, we would send YouTube videos to each other. We were really honing in our knowledge, you know. So that's how I got started. Now, again, I only had probably a true year to year and a half experience before my father-in-law could tell I was miserable. Him and I are very close. We're super close. So he could tell I was not happy working for someone. I didn't know I wanted to own my own thing at that point, really, you know, and I wasn't making great money, by the way. But he could just tell I wasn't super, super happy. And he was like, hey, man, you just, in my words, he said, hey, you just need to start your own thing. I was like, I don't know. I'm young. I would have been like 22, 21, 22 at the time, you know, with a year and a half experience. I was like, I don't know, I'm too young, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, you just need to do it. You know, his daughter, my wife, could run the office side of it. So it sounded good on paper. And I was like, okay. So
because she had years of experience.
Yeah, years. And she's very smart. So we just prayed about it. And then I don't really remember like a light bulb and then being like, okay, today's the day. But I just remember that I turned in a 1 month's notice, not a 2-week. I felt bad. I turned in a 1 month's notice. And then after that, I had no customers. I built no customer base. I went the total wrong way about quitting a job. I went the wrong way. Luckily, Alyssa and I didn't have money, so it didn't really matter. You know, it didn't matter. We didn't have Well, we did have a mortgage, but in the sense of rental properties. But we just rented like where we were living and whatnot. So it wasn't a big deal. We're like, okay, let's just do it.
Well, knowing you for the past, how long have we known each other? About 5 months? 3 or 4 months, maybe. Faith was a part of that. Like, you can't, like, they say step out by faith, but if those that don't have faith in a higher power or in God, there's no faith. They're just like blindly going
it's
on. And
not a great way to live, you know. And
so you're 23 at this point.
No, no, John, I'm 21, 22.
22
max, yeah. And so
started your business at 22
with a year of hands-on experience, and I was like, this is gonna work. Here's the thing, though. I had an unwavering faith that I would be successful, I'd be financially secure from this, and that this would build our future, right? Unwavering.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I left that company, turned in my 1 month's notice, and then off to the races, you know?
So you knew it. You're like, this is it.
Yeah,
at that point.
That's what I was going to do. Yeah, I made that decision, you know?
I'm sure there's others out there that are watching this right now that are thinking the exact same thing. I mean, there's people that are probably like terrified and don't want to do it. But then the people that are where you were you calm? Were you peaceful? Like were you just like, yeah, this is cool. Is your personality just like, let's roll?
I don't know if that's my personality trait on everything, but again, it was just on that particular thing of starting the business, I had a unwavering faith. So yes, it was 100%. I would look you in the eyes and say, hey, I will be extremely wealthy because of an HVAC business, you know?
Awesome.
And I believed it to my core. So
yeah,
it was I don't want to use the term easy, but it was easy. Like I wasn't fearful or scared, you know?
So what do you know now that you wish you had known when you started? And so let's fast forward. That was 21. How old are you now?
I'm 26.
Okay, so 5 years later, a lot of transactions, a lot of growth, and a lot of knowledge that you've learned, I guarantee, in 5 years, in your 20s. What does that look like?
The dues, I guess.
Yeah, like what would your do? What do you wish you knew when you started that you know now?
I think it's a tough question, and I think I don't want to go too broad, but the number one thing is, and yet faith is always number one, right? You should always be trying to put him at the forefront of your business.
Sure.
But with that being said, as long as you have that part established, the second part is, I think mentorship is so huge. And I do think I'm a very good example of that because of my inexperience before I started, right? So I think getting a good mentor and knowing people that have been where you want to go, right? My father-in-law had built $1 million HVAC companies. You know, he has done that already. So I had him in my corner. It was very easy at that point. You know, all I had to do was listen to the wisdom, apply half of that, right? Because you never actually fully listen. You always want to try it your way and all that, and apply half of that. And then we were just off to the races, you know? So my biggest dues would be get a mentor you trust and that shares similar values to you, right? And all that. My father-in-law, very faithful man as well. And that they have been where you want to go. And then my second would be, I didn't do this in the beginning. I'm just very lucky and very blessed. Networking. I did not network my first 4 years. I was lucky that the business grew at the rate it did, but I didn't utilize that the best I should have, right?
Yeah.
Like any business networking group, right?
Sure.
I mean, just get in one, or if you have to start one, if there's not local chapters, that's huge. That would be my big two right there. Yeah.
Yeah. The mentor and networking, right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm trying to wrap my head around this because when I was 25, I think my daughter was born when I was 24 or 23. Do you have any kids?
No, sir.
No kids. Okay. No kids now. And you're 5 years into business and you're gung ho. How is your work-life balance? Because you don't have kids, so when you think about like myself with kids, I've got volleyball games, baseball games, soccer games, etc. That I have to go to. Then there's date night. Then there's plays. Then there's this. Then there's that. Now you've got freedom to go on a date night any night of the week, right? So how is it for someone in their 20s that wants to start their own business? Maybe they're 25 or 6 because they didn't jump in deep like you did right off the beginning.
Okay.
But how is it, and how do you manage that? Because I know you've talked to me about your wife, and I've heard you mention your wife, and I haven't even asked her or asked you about her. You've mentioned your wife, and you've talked about how much of a foundation she is and how much of a support that she is for you. With divorce at such a rate right now, how do you balance your life at work and your life at home? I know your wife works with you, but at some point you have to check out. How do you balance that with your wife, or for someone with a girlfriend?
Yeah.
How do you balance that?
That's a very emotional question for me, So without ended up crying talking about my wife, balance, I don't think I have the answer to that. I think anyone that's an entrepreneur and that's really serious about it knows that in the beginning, it's not the correct answer, but there's really not a balance. I mean, it is. My two best friends on the planet, they give me a lot of crap because they're both cops. I love them to death, and they think that they work a lot, and they do work a lot, but they don't understand when you're self-employed how much, especially the integral years of when you're building that foundation of the business, how much you really work. It's not a lie that we work 6 days a week. People probably think that's far-fetched, and they can't comprehend it unless they're in that seat, right? So for Alyssa and I know a lot of people say they could never work with their spouse. Luckily, the cliche answer, my wife is my best friend, is true. She is my best friend. So
that's solid.
Her and I are very attached together, which is very powerful and a good thing. And we enjoy working together, which a lot of people, again, say that, oh, they could never work with their spouse. I couldn't imagine not working with my spouse. And that's how it works for Alyssa and I.
Okay. So it's emotional in a sense that you can strongly... You if you didn't have her there, you would be lost emotionally and physically.
There's no business without my wife. That's the first part. But no, Alyssa and I we're very close, and I just appreciate her, and I think she's a really great person.
That's amazing. I'm a crier too.
Yeah, man. I'm trying not to.
You getting choked up is amazing because
I respect her,
Yeah, absolutely. I think people looking at me when like on the last episode, I got choked up. When I get choked up, I personally don't think it's any less of a man, or I'm like, that is more of a man. It's kind of like wearing pink, Yeah. Like if you're a real man, you can wear pink. Real man wear pinks, right? So that's so it's awesome.
Luckily, it's not embarrassing to me. It's just like, I'm like, man, I want to get my words out, but people I care about, I'm so deeply connected to them that I'm gonna get emotional thinking about them,
That's awesome.
But yeah, my answer to that is I don't have the answer to work-life balance. Sure. I work a lot, unfortunately, and the goal is to not, right, and to delegate and to build systems, and that's the point. I'm young, Alyssa's young. We're a day apart, so we're both 26.
Wow.
And
young celebrate the birthday at the same time.
We do, yeah.
A day apart.
I'm October 5th. She's 6th. We usually do it on vacation, so we have a good time.
Yeah.
So,
dude, that's awesome. That's solid. So really, right now, what you know that you didn't know, you said your mentor and networking. Now that was the do's. What's a mistake that you made, or that you're making, or have made, that people don't talk about? The thing that, like, it's like talking about men crying kind of thing. Is there something that's backroom that everyone should talk about that you feel comfortable sharing, and someone's watching that has either just started or they're going to start, and they're thinking about what you're going to talk about? But what is it in the HVAC business, or just in business as a whole, what is it that you think would trip people up that they should really think about?
I think you can go a lot of ways with it. I think for me as a Christian man and being really vulnerable is pride, right? And I don't like to admit that, but it just is what it is. It's like
I do. I'm kind of a big deal. Just kidding, brother. Just kidding.
No, I know you are, but I mean, as a man, you know how it is. We can be prideful, right? And you pound your chest. I built a multi-million-dollar business.
Sure.
I'm 7 digits. I did this. I did that.
Yeah.
Buddy, we didn't do it.
No.
And that's the God honest truth.
All glory to God, for
so
sure.
I think that's a big don't. And
Yeah.
I'm a hypocrite of that because I can get like that too. But pride does come before the fall. And just remembering that he's at the forefront of the business. He's giving you the opportunities to be able to do that. And I almost went back to a do of just putting your faith first in the business because you also can't outgive God. And I know we both agree with that as well. So,
my business, when you believe in tithing, as I do, if you tithe, so 10% of your income, you're rewarded. Your windows or your blessings will flow through your house and just overflow
Absolutely.
out the windows of heaven. Will just pour out. But when I truly noticed a big difference in my business is when I started giving to missions. And if anybody out there is watching and you're a Christian and you do tithe already and you don't give to missions, as soon as I started giving to missions, I was at a point to where I was giving more to missions than I was tithing at one point. Well, just recently I was deployed and I just got back. I'm in the National Guard also. And I wasn't able to keep my business running really strong while I was gone. And so I am looking forward to that day when I can give to missions more because I blew up when I started giving to missions. It's
a weird thing, man. I have 2 mentors that I credit a lot of my success to, right? And they both are very much Christians, and they're both very much about giving back. And my father-in-law, Kevin, he would remind me all the time, like, hey, if you want an answer about something, go give your time, right? It doesn't always have to be money. That's another thing to consider. But he'd say, hey, go give your time, right? Go feed the homeless, go help your dad move a couch, whatever, right? I mean,
Sure.
so there's a big do too, just giving your time and trying to be my other mentor, Matt, Blue Collar King. That's what this is from, right? My other mentor, has always preached to be an asset to the kingdom, right?
Yeah.
And let your business be an asset to the kingdom.
Sure.
So, yeah, man, that's a big do. A don't would be to hoard it all, right?
Yeah.
There's another don't.
So obviously, faith and our walk with the Lord is a big part of our lives. Since we've talked a lot about on the podcast so far, but talk a little bit about the business and your employees and how you're able to give back and you're able to lead others. I'm assuming you probably have people that are older than you, right? Or no?
Everybody I've ever hired except 2 now. So
I've
older
had, than you.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I've had, and that was a hard mental hurdle for me, actually.
Okay.
I mean, it is. It's
Pride.
hard to. No,
Right.
not even pride. I think it's my mindset. It's hard for me to tell a 45-year-old man to go do something.
Sure.
You know?
How do you handle that? Because I know for a fact, because I've hired people that are 25 years older than me, and I've had to do the same thing. And I guess talk about how you do that. Like, because there's in the trades, there's gonna be people. Anybody who's watching this in the trades is gonna have that.
I think my personal leadership style, whether it's correct or incorrect, I don't know. But at my business, my background in the Army, I had 2 very good leaders, and both of those leaders personally treated me like we were equals, even though we were not equals, right? And they were much more accomplished than me. And I would have done anything for them if they would have asked me to, right? And then when I didn't have those leaders, I lost a lot of motivation and made me not as as successful or efficient as I could have been in the Army, right?
Okay.
I contributed the same thing to my business. So my personal leadership style is I try to be very connected to my men, or if we ever hire a woman, just to be very connected to them and feel like, not the cliche, we're a family, but we're a family. And hey, my business, we're here to help you develop personally, not just to line my pockets and for me to get rich. And it's not about that, right? So it's to help them develop personally. And then we're going to build an honest and ethical but profitable company. And we're going to rise this thing together, right? I always say, when I talk about my people, I don't know if people ever catch it, but if I'm talking about one of my guys, I say, hey, we work together, not he works for me. Right?
I do that too. When I'm talking about my project manager, I'm like, we work together, or he works with me, or I work with him, because it's not my project manager. It's not my employees. I mean, yes, they work for the company and we own the company, but if you have the mindset that we're together, it really does. It makes a difference. And I think he's actually been touched by that, because he realizes that he's not just a number.
You care, and that's what it's about. People want to be a place that they know that they're cared for, because the trades, they're not easy, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're physically very hard. It's not my job to make their day worse by just grilling them out and complaining like a lot of guys will, get macho about it. So
now, 5 years later, your legacy, okay, what you've got now. If, let's say, heaven forbid, you died today, what would be what would success today? Because I imagine it would look different than it looked when you first started. It's just 5 years, but you talked about people, and myself, when I was in my 20s, I didn't really think about helping other people. I was about going up the ladder, and you sound like you've matured very, very quickly. What does success look like to you? And if you're no longer there, what would people say about your legacy and what you've done?
I would hope they would say good things about me, and that I cared about them, and that I cared about, offline, Chuck and I were talking about when you're in someone's home, just trying to build a relationship with them, but that has to come from a genuine place. So I would hope that people say I was genuine. I'd hope that they say I'm faith-based. I would hope that the business would be able to thrive, and Alyssa could still to manage it and run it without me even there. Hopefully I'm alive when that happens,
Sure.
and it can run and do its own thing. So, and again, that we just built we're a 5-star reputation company, that it lives on even if I'm not in that company, right? Yep. That's kind of the purpose of it, that it's awesome. Actually serving the community.
So this morning I was reading in James, and it was, I think it was James 3, but it was talking about faith without works and works without faith. And that's interesting that you brought up faith, because that's what I was reading this morning on my porch, my Bible reading for the morning. So faith is big. People's big, and being humble, which most people in their 20s are not humble. Let's just be honest. Like, and you're solid, dude.
I'm not always, man. So it's I got a lot of wisdom above me, and that's what I would share. Another do. I know I keep going with that. But do listen to the wisdom of people above you. That's all it is. It's not a copycat. Do your own thing. I don't try to copycat any of the businesses around here. I wish them all well. I don't care what they do at the end of the day, but I picked my mentors well, I think, and they're at where I want to be, and they share a lot of wisdom. And my one mentor, Matt, man, I probably, if he watches this, he can laugh. I probably take away 10%, maybe less, of what he actually tells me to do. And that's how big of an impact a good mentor can have,
So someone that's new or have been around the block for a long time, talk about how they should find a mentor. How does that work?
Finding a mentor, it can be as simple as, going to, I'm in the HVAC world, right? So if I went to a company around here that was very large and you want to learn how to do it, man, offer your time for free. Like if you're really about that, right? You're really about wanting to make this your career, offer your time for free. Hey, John, can I learn under you, man? You don't have to pay me anything. I'll do whatever you need, right? Yeah. That's kind of what I did with my father-in-law, you know. Okay. And then as far as my second mentor, it was a God thing, but I actually found him on social media. But I mean, that's the beauty of online presence, man. It doesn't have to be in person. It can be over social media as well, you know.
How do you market your business?
How do I personally market ours?
Yeah.
So our very, very big thing for home service, for us is Google reviews. That's been king. And 4 years of operating, we're over 400 5-star Google reviews.
400?
Over 400. Yes, sir. Yeah. And of those, we only have 3 that are not 5 stars. So over 400 with 3 that are not 5 stars.
Dang.
But again, I think that's huge. That's probably most of the time when people call in. And by the way, we did that with no paid ads. We weren't doing pay-per-click. We weren't doing SEO. We weren't doing any of that, right? So hammering Google reviews, right? Hammering them.
So you tell people, give us a review when you leave the
house?
Yeah,
we send them a link to give us a review. Okay. I would highly suggest that, right?
Give them a link. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then networking would obviously be another huge one. I don't think I took that seriously enough in my first few years. And then ironically this year, because this year I set a very large revenue goal. It would be the largest jump. We jump about 300,000 to 400,000 every year. Yeah. This jump, I was shooting for over 700,000 in revenue jump. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, to be transparent, we went 3, 6, 1, 1.3. It's set at 2 this year.
Nice. A solid.
It's big. You know, it's a big jump.
In the industry, knowing that you have mentors, where do you fit inside other small HVAC companies? Like what does that look like?
In size?
Yeah.
Well, we're running...
Is that small to medium? Or
I consider it small. I think it's relative, you know. We're running about 4.5 trucks because we got 4 vans, and then sometimes my actual truck will take it out. So we'll call it 4.5, you know.
Got it.
But yeah, we're kind of in that thing of... my one mentor always talked about, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. Well, Alyssa and I were very good at keeping it. We understood that very well. So we were very good at keeping it. Our first 3 years, we spent almost zero. I mean, our CPA and everything would always get onto us like, man, you don't spend any money on marketing and all that stuff. And I'm not saying that's the correct answer, but luckily we did well at keeping it. And then this year, why we made such a large goal for ourselves is because I said, okay, we've accumulated this, and now let's take it to the next level. Let's get marketing in. Let's get another mentor in. Like let's add more trucks to the fleet, and let's explode. You know. And so that's the goal this year, and we will hit it.
So are you open to people reaching out to you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if anyone wants to hear what I have to say, I would.
Yeah. So like, how would someone find you? Are you on social media? Are you on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that?
Yeah. So just James Ambagis on Facebook, James Ambagis on Instagram. And then, you know, our actual website is truecomfortheatandair.com. So they can directly message the office.
Truecomfortheatandair.com.
Mm-hmm. TRUE, comfort, heat, and spelled out, air .com. Sorry, I almost said at Gmail. Yeah, threw me off there. So,
all right. Well, James, it has truly been a pleasure. I would say a lot of things I go to, like Chamber of Commerce meetings and stuff like that, they have a success under 40 group, like people that are younger that are successful. And I would say, based on what we've talked about and knowing you, that you are successful. And thanks, kudos to you, because you got many years to grow and hopefully be so much more successful, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you, man.
So once again, my name is John Coombs. This is Strategic Business Planning, and to find me or to be involved in this podcast, you can go to calljohncoombs.com. Thank you.